Good afternoon, South Africa Overwatch fans. It is not afternoon for me, though. It is 7 freaking a.m., but we are here with some Overwatch, and I am hyped to bring you this game, but I, of course, can't do this alone. I have to have the knowledge and the co-caster help over with Sun Phoenix here with me today. How are you?
Can't complain. I was on for the first game, and it was a stellar full 5-game series, back and forth, a lot of fun. So hoping for more of the same here, as we always are, hoping to see a full complement of games and some close back and forth Overwatch. Now, you did say, Davin, you've seen Goats play, and they looked pretty damn hot. So fingers crossed LGBTQ times can show up today.
Listen, I mean, both of these teams have won both of their games, right? So it's not like we're going to get a bad matchup. I think we're going to see some good things. I happened to catch, for God knows what reason, the 3 a.m. game for me yesterday, where LGBTQ times did reverse sweep. So I've seen some interesting compositions from them, and they've clicked, right? But Goats has been clicking from the minute they step into the game. They walked in, said, nah, we got this, and have been rolling ever since. So we'll see how it plays out. I think both these teams got some real talent on their rosters, and after watching both these teams play, it's going to be a banger of a game.
Yeah, we can only hope, and here's hoping that we do see some stellar Overwatch. And what that tells me, what you just said, is that at the very least, LGBTQ times have some resiliency that they can show. If they go down in the first couple of games, don't count them out just yet. So excited to see how things unfold here before we head into Midtown. But let's take a look at the rosters, I think, Davian. How does that sound to you?
Sounds like a plan. It looks like we have Goats up first, and I got to cast them yesterday. They have Laan, Hammond, Trizzle, Keo, and Yami maybe. The team is great. Trizzle, I've seen walk in, kill 4, walk out like nothing happened on the Ramatra. Same thing with the Diva gameplay. You just saw it. You can see how diverse, and they were very flexible on their roles. You saw Tracer, you saw Cass, you saw May, you saw Junk, you saw a little bit of everything out of this team. So I think their flexibility is what gives them the strength to keep doing what they're doing, and that's why they haven't dropped a map.
Yeah, I think just Laan and Trizzle, I think, stand out on this team for me for sure. Trizzle, of course, we know him very well as a stellar hit scan DPS usually, but just DPS in general. Actually, more of a checkdown now to think about it. And Laan, he's on the Tracer there in this picture, and I think that's pretty typical of his play. A stellar Tracer, all the way back in the JHM there. I'm going to throw some words at you, Davin. Your eyes can just glaze over, don't worry. I'm about
to learn a lot today.
Talking to the OG Zero Overwatch people, but I think he used to play on JHM, of course, part of the TMC crew alongside Trizzle. So yeah, it's a fairly storied player. Hasn't been playing competitively recently, but here in the Pride Cup. And then we've got Keo, newish player, Hammond as well, newish player, I believe over from console as well, DPS player, and Yami maybe newish as well, but I believe playing for Fledglings, if Terran Lord is to be believed, from last season. So a mix of old and new here, which is what we like to see in the Pride Cup.
Yeah, I mean, hey, listen, it looks great. Their team is stacked. I've watched them play already, so it's good. But I mean, hey, the LGBTQ times roster, they ain't no pushovers. All right, they got some people on that roster too. Risen, Frost, Blur, Jinxie, and P5. What is it? P5001 5001. How am I supposed to say this name?
Nobody knows. Everybody literally on broadcast asks that same question. They're all like, is it P500, P5000? Don't know.
He's going to be P5. We're calling him Persona 5 from here on out.
That's what I did as well.
But hey, listen, I saw them play yesterday as well. This team it's a banger of a team too. They figured it out, and they've also been able to click late. They also have won both of their games, obviously not in the 3-0 fashion, as they had to reverse sweep their first one, but they have some good things. Really on the lookout on Blur here. Blur came alive in that reverse sweep from what I watched, and it was just insane. I think when I was on broadcast yesterday, all the tanks were winning player of the matches. So I'm really hype about this tank matchup today as a tank player myself.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all. Blur has been for a long time one of the best main tanks in South Africa, championship winning in 2019 or whenever it was. So he's been at the tippy top of tank play in South Africa for a long ass time. So I'm not surprised to hear him be a name that's standing out. Then looking at everybody else, P5 at 101, 5001. I was impressed with their play when I saw them playing in the last cup, the Rhino Showdown, I believe it was. And so, yeah, play to look out for. And then obviously always looking at the DPS Risen. Prostitute, I believe, in for Lime Oros. So expecting Lime Oros to come back in for game number 2, but they're starting with a sub here. Lime Oros is a very strong hit scan player, tends to play a lot of different things, Reaper, Sombra, that sort of thing. So expecting them to pop off when they get back in. But yeah, definitely, as you said, Davian, it's going to be a tank matchup that we want to keep our eyes on. Now, on paper, my belief is that Blur is the better tank. But Trizzle might have the better squad behind him, and that can always make a big difference. So we're going to have to see how this matchup plays out. And then, of course, all other 4 players on both teams are going to have a lot to say about the result of this match today.
I'm also looking at one very specific person on LGBTQ times, and that's Jinxie. Jinxie, I watched play Mercy, pull out the Glock, kill 3, and walk out. So I've seen some crazy stuff happen from Jinxie over there. So I listen, I recognize your game, so I'm here to watch it. But this matchup is going to be great. And the maps we're running in, we do have a very set map pool. You've seen the same map pool. Everyone runs the same map pool. Midtown is where we start off. It's the Pride Cup. We got to see the Pride Parade right off rip. You know what I mean? You got to make sure we guarantee see that. Lijiang Tower after that, followed by Route 66. And if it gets to maps 4 and 5, Esperanza and Ilios to end off that maps. And as you can see, the confetti rain down. You see the Pride flags pulled up. You see the nice Pride flag next to that US flag. And we love to see those things. And I'm very excited to bring you map number 1, as I believe we'll have LGBTQ times on the attack first.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm interested to see what complexion these takes. I always like to get a sense of how a team wants to approach a particular matchup and what their ideal is, because obviously they're going to have to think about how they adapt to what their opponents are doing, to the game set, all that kind of stuff. But what they come up with first on map 1 is very telling for me. So we'll wait and see here in the next 1 second. And there we go. And it's pretty standard here. We will expect to see from the attacking side here Blur on the Winston quite a bit. I think his ball and his Winston are probably his 2 best heroes, so he kind of likes to operate as the tip of the spear. But focusing on the defense here, Trizzle going to be on that Ramatra, and as you said, Davian, he can be a superstar on that hero, so looking forward to that. And otherwise, it's a fairly pokey lineup from both teams. We've got the Cassidy and the Hanzo versus the Cassidy and the Pharah, so some picks from downrange might be the name of the game here to start off.
Yeah, I saw yesterday in this same map, Hammond pick off 2 on the defense, Trizzle killing people right off rip. So I've seen some crazy things, but Frost is a menace on this Pharah, so we'll see it how we kick off map 1. Blur's Winston is insane, so we'll see how this all shakes out at the end.
Absolutely, we will here as they look to come in now. Yeah, it's going to be explosive, right? At some point, somebody's going to die and they're going to pounce and immediately finds that pick.
Immediately, Blur finds Hammond. It just walks in, is low, but is going to get healed up. Pharah is out there. Trizzle is a little out of position here. Gets antied. Very low here and does get taken out. It's an easy fight 1 win for LGBTQ times, and I don't know if they're going to have another chance as Frost finds Neon again and forces the res off with the boop. Great play.
Very nice play, and that's exactly what we were expecting, right? They find some damage and Blur immediately pounces on that, gets that opening pick onto Hammond, I think it was, and then they take advantage of that. But it's not all over yet.
They look to contest. They look to contest. Keo does go down. Hammond does find one. Trizzle gets off point, so they're gonna not be able to finish contesting. Neon finds Frost in the mix of all this, but it's not going to be enough. Trizzle's going to go down with the D-Mech and kill Van Blur. Rez is going to go off on Frost, and we're going to keep on moving. Blur is in the spawn, looking for this Mercy here. Does get out, though.
You were talking about Trizzle being in spawn, right, and being super aggressive, but Blur is that kind of player for me as well. He likes to create advantages, and if not create them, then definitely press them, and they're going to look to do the same thing here. Now, no ultimates to speak of, almost up to that Deadeye, but this could be an explosive team fight here as it unfolds with a lot of ults almost ready to go. But there's action on point now.
Yep, and then Trizzle gets Blur here. The switch over to the Diva off Ramatra is a great change here. Hammond does get hit with that nade. Risen is on the backline. Frost finds Nian here. Rizzle does find Jinxie, but then Risen gets Yami maybe as well. Hammond finds Risen then. We just see a bunch of trade-offs here as Frost also goes down, and it looks like Goats may be able to contest unless we get a nano from Blur. The bomb goes off. Blur's here to help. Bomb does not find any. Smush goes down. He's going to pop his Winston ult. He is unhappy monkey, and he is beating Trizzle around, trying to get him off the payload. But Nian comes in for reinforcement-wise, but it's just not enough. They're going to not have enough reinforcements. Oh, and Trizzle does find one and all that. Does get D-Mac? Yes, there's the D-Mac. It didn't pop off on my screen right away. But they're finding picks here. Trizzle goes down. Nian goes down to the sleep dart. Risen gets Hammond. The only person left alive is Keo. And it's some explosion. Back and forth. Love this type of play.
Yeah, absolutely. And the key to it all there really was you blink and you'll miss it, but Jinxie managed to res Blur early on. We saw him go down, and look, alive, he gets up, he gets his ulti up, he buys so much time for the reinforcements to come through, and the team takes advantage of that very effectively. So LGBTQ times gonna get the cart moving here once again, but it's an even matchup, very back and forth. Great to see, but the Dragon Strike comes through.
Big Dragons, 2 down. The Pharmacy is down. Trizzle gets nanoed. Blur's gonna go down. Trizzle's gonna find P5, and Nian is gonna exchange on the Cassidy, and we're gonna see the team kill animation pop up. That's a good fight win for them. They needed that. Stop the bleeding.
Absolutely, stop the momentum for sure, and clean as you like. Just a single Dragon Strike, basically all that was necessary to win that team fight. Already 20% up to the next one, but they're coming into the next team fight now. LGBTQ times. They've got the Barrage, they've got the Deadeye, and they've got the Valk, so this should be a good one. We're going to look to Blur to be the tip of the spear, try and get into the squishy insides. He's going to jump early.
Yep, and immediately pop both. They pop the Valk, pop the... they just pop Barrage. 3 go down. Blur gets res, but Hammond also gets res. There's the bomb. That's a big bomb. Blur takes a lot of damage there. Frost is now separated from the Mercy. They do find... themselves, actually. Frost goes down to their own rockets, but that's huge for them because now they can continue to contest. It's a 3v4, and they're going to get reinforcements back here in just a moment to make it a 5v5. No res online for either team, and it's looking like Blur is going to go down. Anti-nade comes through. Ooh. It's looking low for him. Hammond finds Jinxie. Out of all that, Blur is taken down. High noon pop up with the high noon from Risen. Yami, maybe Keo and Neon. Trizzle goes down to the nade. D-Max, Risen finds, but Hammond is clutching up, finds 2. It's just blow after blow. Looking for a third, but can't get it. Frost gets him on the Sombra after swapping off. And it's looking like this is going to be the fight win. We have some potential contest here as 4 are coming in. It's going to be a 4v3 here if they do this way. Blur's going to pop into the backline, try to get a little bit of focus on that Ana. Frost and Jinxie are sitting on the payload here. It's looking rough. They pop an ult. Rizzle does find Jinxie. Both Mercies go down. The contest is at 0.4. It is very closely contested as Blur is in the back line here for the team. It's insane. The contest on Keo, it pays off as he finds the kill on him. D-Mac on Trizzle. Frost finds Hammond. Risen finds Trizzle. It is out of here as the Nano was also used in all that. And they're going to have EMP for next fight.
They are, and that was great work from Frostitude, kind of securing them that sort of mid-fight tempo play. It was really 2 fights stapled together, and Frostitude getting that pick onto Hammond towards the end there kind of just gave them the tempo, and then Blur taking absolute advantage, jumping the back line, popping the Primal Rage, and just forcing the supports back and getting a couple of kills in the back line as well. So really, really nice play from LGBTQ times once again, but as you said, the EMP going to be key here. They can find a couple of picks, but Blur drops early. What happened there?
Who knows? He just got a little low. Jinxie was a little far up, so maybe not helping on the support side. Both Anas go down out of this. They're going to actually res the Ana back. Trizzle finds Risen, and that's going to be an easy fight win. And it's just Sombra sitting in the back line. But again, this EMP is looming. But they have almost 5 ults to match 1 EMP. We'll see if that can help them out here.
In theory, though, it doesn't matter, right? If he catches everybody and they kill everybody.
Exactly.
The EMP, the perfect counter to a big war chest. But it's up to Frosty here to see if he can get that big EMP. It's easier said than done, and they're playing quite split. They're going to start with the self-destruct.
Bomb gets sent into spawn and gets 2! Bomb just immediately gets sent to the spawn by Trizzle as he saw Blur jump in Great play out there. Blur is extremely low, doesn't have supports with him. Ana finally turns around to help out Blur, trying to get something, but Ana is being contested by Trizzle, finds the sleep dart. Ana all alone on that side. P5 goes down. They're going to get the pick, and they're going to walk out.
Not for the first time, an early pick. I mean, that was almost a late pick, but doesn't matter when it comes in the all that matters is that there's a lot of time burned off the clock. Another one. Both supports down now. Trizzle playing that aggressive style on the front line here with the Diva. And LGBTQ times are going to be kicking themselves a little bit. A couple of free early picks here. It's burnt about 30 seconds to a minute off their timer now. With only a minute left, they're going to be hard pressed to push all the way to the end, but here's the MP.
There's the MP, finds 4. Nano does save some. High Noon up top. Gets slapped, a huge sleep dart, and they throw the Nano onto Blur, finding him. High tide now. We already saw what Rizzy could do with that. Gets 3 last time. Finds nothing here. Laan gets res. Blur finds Keo in the back line. Trizzle can't escape. Hacked and hit with the nade. Trizzle still finds Frost out of all that, though. Baby Diva Trizzle does end up going down to P5, but this may be helpful as Blur's in the back line, causing mayhem. Pops primal range, finds Yami maybe. Hammond goes down. Blur also finds Neon, and it is just looking detrimental here. This is last fight going into this. They have no ults for the side of LGBTQ times. They had to pop everything. Just the Diva bomb over here for Goats, as it's going to force OT push here after taking a lot of their time.
Trizzle, he does have the self-destruct, as you said. He'll probably start with that. That seems to be how he likes to start. And with overtime ticking over, that might just clear the point here. He'll throw it up now. Let's see what happens.
Here's the bomb. Finds Ana, but Yami maybe and Neon go down in the back line. They're looking to res. They actually do get the res off on the Ana. Hammond finds Blur out of all this. Jinxie goes down. Trizzle is 1v3ing on the point. The payload. Hammond does help the back line, though. Gets Frost, and now he has support, but he's antied, so the Ana can't help out. But it's going to clear it out. Hammond finds another Hammond. And Keo clutching up in that back line after losing a couple. Hammond looking so good on the Hanzo. Woke up on that 3rd point.
Yeah, absolutely. Kind of had a relatively quiet round up until that point, other than a good Dragon Strike on second, but really coming in clutch towards the end there. But that was a very split fight, and that seems to be happening quite a bit in the sense that we've got Blur jumping in deep, trying to create space for the DPS to do their thing. And it's tough to play like that because you're pulling the attention of your supports forward. But I think it's the right thing to do here, and it's been working out for LGBTQ times. But good work from Goats here. But what I like to see here, Davin, is that yes, it's only halfway into map 1, but I think we've got an even series on our match here. Perhaps more even than we saw from Goats' previous series. So that's very exciting to see. And Drizzle's not having, free reign of it. Yes, he's playing well. Yes, he's doing good work. But Blur is matching him strike for strike on the other side. So it's an exciting matchup so far.
Yeah, and I think what has really been the difference makers is how the play of the Ana has come down, because Keo and P5 have been hitting sleep darts. They've been hitting their nades very offensively, and that's been helping out a lot because those offensive nades mean, oh, we're getting a pick on Blur, or we're getting Trizzle out of mech, or we're going to hit Nian in the back line, and we're going to sleep the High Noon, and then we're going to get the KO because we have dive and follow-up. It is just great coordination from both teams have been doing it. It's been a phenomenal gameplay, and the timely picks have been insane. We saw Hammond hit the 2 with the Dragon Strike, which opened the door for them on second point to stop that bleeding and get it to where it was now. But they also had Risen, who in a losing fight, it felt like, find 3 with the High Noon and gets everything there. It's insane. As we're just waiting for someone to restart their internet while we're getting back into the action here in just a moment. But it's been absolutely insane type of gameplay from this.
Yeah, it's been so back and forth as well. And on Midtown, you're happy to get A through that first point. It feels like you see so many teams just get stuck on point 1 and the game kind of ends there. But you're happy to get all the way through to third point. In spite of not getting the finish, you've given yourself plenty to defend here if you're LGBTQ times. And the other thing I want to point out, you pointed out the Ana, which is obviously absolutely critical. But Jinxie on the Mercy has been doing an amazing job of finding critical reses to keep critical players or put critical players back into the fight. We saw it on second point, that long drawn out fight where Blur comes back to life and he's the difference maker there. And we saw towards the end there with the res onto the Ana, kind of keeping them in the game for a little bit longer. So Definitely. As much as we like to, sort of zone in on tank play is obviously supported by support. So yeah, we kind of there's a lot of back and forth happening all throughout the squads here, which is always exciting to see.
Yeah, I mean, you said it best. The res on Blur actually does set up the 3K from Risen because it takes a lot of focus off of those two players. It puts a little bit more focus on Winston, and it's just critical timing. And I do want to call out chat. They already starting to spam the boats if you're supporting goats, and I love that. Keep the spam up. Keep going. We like these things. It's very exciting. So it's gonna be fun. I think this is a great match. And then we only finished one round. We haven't even got to the second part of Midtown yet. Like it's so good.
What's happening here? I'm ready to go. Like let's get a move on here, James.
Right.
I'm ready for more of game one here. But I'm always fascinated to see what your adaptation is as a team, if any. I think both teams are probably looking at the first round here and going, I'm actually quite happy with how that went. I think neither team is going to be looking to make wholesale changes here, outside of just the changes that you would make when switching from attack to defense. But I think that playstyle wise, they're both going to be happy to kind of lean on their tanks to start fights off, be it Blur on the Winston or the Diva, but also just see how they switch things up coming into a defense. Do they go for something a little bit more static on the side of Goats? It looks like they want to run something a tiny bit more static, but we know how aggressive a Ramatra can play. And Blur, he's happy on the Winston, and I mean, you can't really argue with that as a decision.
Yeah, I mean, playing very well on Winston. We love that. The big thing here I'm noticing is that the support changes over for Goats. They're switching over to a Lucio Kiriko as opposed to the Ana Mercy. But that means Laan, it looks like he wants to play Tracer. Maybe not. Maybe we're getting a Cole Cassidy here. We'll see how that plays out. I do, however, like the change because they're going to be a lot more aggressive with how they present themselves with Trizzle. So we'll see the presence here from that. But it's the same comp over from LGBTQ times.
Yeah, looking to operate perhaps like a wrecking ball, not the hero, but the actual, implement of destruction.
Exactly.
Just kind of run in, move forward, and do some damage, and they're going to start off here with a very aggressive movement straight onto point.
Trizzle is running at Ana and Risen, but just cannot find it. Blur gets Yami, maybe. Jinxie does go down, though, here, and Hammond finds Risen. So those are two critical picks. If we can get a quick reset here over for Goats, they might be able to contest really quickly because they have Lucio. Hammond's gonna go down, but because Mercy and Cass go down, they're walking back now, but they have Trizzle already over to Diva. Lucio and Kiriko are here, so we'll see if they can sprint to it.
They might just look for a 4v5. Yeah, unfortunately they're already there. But they're gonna go aggressive here. Diva now for Trizzle, as you said, looking to get the job done. Blur under pressure on the front line. In fact, he goes down, so that's a bad start for them.
And a trade. Frost goes down as well, but gets Keo on the way out. Looking for Mercy. Mercy's going to try the res. Hammond does find. And so that's going to be open point. And I think that's going to be point one for Goats. We may see a contest here, but I highly doubt it. With 5 up, it's going to be a little harder.
Well, Blur's coming in, though. He might want to make something happen here, but there's plenty of time here, actually, looking at it now.
There's time now, yeah. We're looking at it. We'll see. They switch over to Torbjorn. And
he doesn't.
He's not going to get the touch. He jumped in, didn't get the touch off. Is going to take the life for it. So Blur is trying to get out, but won't get out. There's a Torb turret just sitting there, pelting them. They do finally take it out. But Frost moving over from Pharah to Torb is a very interesting selection with what the other team is playing, as Laan finds P5 on the way out.
Torb doesn't feel like an obvious counter to anything that Goats is doing here at the moment, and in fact going to drop off here. So interesting to see that. We'll have to wait and see whether he chooses to stick on that. It wouldn't shock me if that was just kind of a play, but Trizzle going to throw in the bomb right away. Not going to find anything, but it tells you how they want to play. Just take the space, put the pressure on, and prevent them from getting settled on the side of LGBTQ times.
Yeah, but you know what it did stop? It was the, Hammond finding a head tap on a P5. We'll get the res off. Jinxie will. But man, what a headshot. The thing that it was it got rid of bubble, right? So when Blur jumps in again, he has to take all the spam in order to do anything. High noon on high ground from Laan, getting Matrix to help out a lot with everything. Everyone's just sitting in a corner. No one immediately in sight. Trizzle does find Jinxie, but the point is a little exposed here. You got a little bit of low. Trizzle is still low. Laan is getting real low, but they're getting health. Risen actually goes down in exchange. Frost is getting low here. Frost goes down. Hammond does go down to P5. Keo finds P5. Beat comes out from Yami maybe to keep a little bit of health there and secure that point with only Hammond going down. And it looks like they're going to take point 2 and move into point 3 with a bunch of time. A lot of time on the clock.
Full time,
and they're going to bomb to secure it.
Oh!
Still got Risen out of it. I thought it was just going to be a zoning ult, but no, it does get a kill out of it.
And that kind of just is the exclamation mark at the end of point 2 there, right? Because there was every chance that Blur comes in for a late contest again, but that kill onto Risen just kind of seals the deal here. Trizzle and sealed up with a good COWZA, gonna keep him healthy. But Goats, I mean, they're finding a rhythm here. It looks pretty close on LGBTQ times attack, but Goats are making it look pretty one-sided at the moment. And of course, off the back of aggressive play from Trizzle, as we see there once again.
Trizzle is just an attack player, does not care about defending. They do find a pick. They're gonna Dragons. They're gonna get P5 out of it after the res. Trying to keep people alive. Molten Core on the payload. Trizzle gets Frost. Risen does find Trizzle though with the high noon. Does go down though to Laan, and Laan is in spawn looking for Jinxie here, looking to get a pick, retreating back to the team as Hammond actually does find. Blur goes down. That yellow box of victory is oh so close. They're without Trizzle for a little bit here, so it looks like Q Times will have a chance to come back. Oh, unless that happens, Frost head tapped immediately. That gives time for Trizzle to come back, and this is it. 3 minutes and 40 seconds on the clock. We are mere under 5 meters from clapping this point and getting a map 1 win for Goats. High noon off, finds 2. Bob goes off, is gonna not find anybody. The res is coming off. Point is here. Yami maybe boop gets the KO. Jinxie trying to contest, gets a pick. P5 goes down. Then it's Trizzle just finding so many picks there. But Hammond coming alive that map is what gets the game. It was just a non-stop payload move after that cap.
Yeah, and it was just the pick after pick, right? That kind of early opening pick that unsettles your squad. Of course, puts you man down, forces out the res, sometimes not, as we see here. The triple K from the backline here. He focuses on the Hanzo, thinking he's the danger in the backline, but it's actually Trizzle in Baby Diva form right in front of him that he has to watch out for. But yeah, it's unfortunate for them there, and it's kind of typical of what we would expect Goats' squad to do. Pump damage in from long range, get a pick maybe, but also put the pressure on with some high damage shots that Trizzle can take advantage of. And you could see that LGBTQ times didn't really feel like they ever really got set up after that first successful hold on their defense.
Yeah, I mean, hey, listen, Goats, I told y'all they were a strong team. So we'll see how it plays out. We're going to get a sub here. I believe Frost is heading out. We're going to get Lime in here for this map. And it's looking good for Goats. I mean, their defense, it looked a little iffy in the first, 1.5 points there as Blur was playing overly aggressive, getting everything that Blur wanted there. And it's just pick after pick after that. It was just really rough to try to come back from that bleeding. They couldn't get one of those fights to win after the first point to stop the bleeding. So we'll see how it goes as we head to control, which could benefit LGBTQ times a little bit more with the comps they're playing. Lijiang's really good for Monkey. All points are solid for Monkey. So we'll see how that plays out.
One thing I will also point out is that you mentioned how strong Trizzle was looking on the Ramatra, but they've done an excellent job on the side of LGBTQ times of shutting down that aggressive Ramatra play. We saw it on their attack on Midtown here for Goats. That first one, totally shut down. Trizzle waddles on in there like he's going to conquer the world and get slapped down immediately. So we'll have to see if he feels like he can lean on that. But I mean, the Diva is just working so incredibly well for them. It allows him to, oscillate between playing slower and faster, even if it seems like it's fast 90% of the time. He can kind of pick his moment a bit better than perhaps he can with the Ramatra. So that's going to be interesting to see. And from Blur's perspective, it almost feels like it's not really on him. You don't feel like he's overextending or anything. Just those picks make it so hard to play any hero, and Winston especially when you're playing man down. You can kind of feel like, you kind of jump in and feed. So we'll have to wait and see what each team is able to get done here and whether they feel like they need to adapt to anything.
Yeah, the big thing I've noticed from these teams was the swap on supports, right? So Yami and Kyo went over to this Lucio Kiriko, which have a lot better time healing for each other, as opposed to it was Ana and Mercy, which Mercy is just being attached to a DPS, not really peeling for Ana as much. So it's a little bit different in the style of play. So it allowed people to be a little more aggressive without losing your Ana every 5 seconds. So that was one of the big things. And Blur couldn't capitalize on just jumping at Ana that didn't have help.
Yeah, kind of new to Blur's intended play style. But we're going to see something different here. Like I said, one of Blur's other best heroes is probably the Hammond. And speaking of Hammond, Hammond has to say hello to the inside of the spawn room here, because that is a very fast start from LGBTQ times.
Lime checks in and opens the door. Needs some assistance here for Lime, as they don't really have much to deal with it outside of maybe a Tracer. But and I guess Sojourn, but it's really hard here to deal with that Pharah as far as getting another pick. The quick exchanges over there. P5 still finds Yami maybe out of that, so it's a 3v3 right now. Mercy looking for the res, can't get it. But P5 still finds Kyo in all that, so it's a little bit interesting. Here's DPS line here. Hammond does go down. It's just Neon and Blur. It's the 1v1, but the supports are coming back. The team is coming in. Reinforcements are here. Yami maybe and Trizzle are here. But so is Risen. Trizzle finds Blur, but Lime comes back and finds Yami maybe. The Pharah's pelting in, can't find anything, as the first flip will go to Goats.
That raise from Jinxie was so ambitious, just hoping that nobody hits the shots on her from very, very close range. But unfortunately, she does end up going down. Blur back in the mix here, though. A pulse bomb finds one, but it's traded out.
It is traded out. Rez is going to go off, though. There's this big barrage from Lime getting Trizzle, but Neon wins the Tracer fight once more. Lime finds Hammond out of all this, though, so it's going to look like it's a fight win for LGBTQ times. Blur finds Yami maybe. It's just Nien on the back line. Gonna stall a little bit here. Does go down to P5. P5 on the Kiriko has been phenomenal this map.
Yeah, so far been really contributing in a big way, both with the healing, of course, but the damage he's been putting out has been critical as well. One thing I want to comment on that we didn't really spend any time talking about, we mentioned that Lime Horus is in for Frosty here, but we didn't really think about how that would affect things, and it makes a big difference. Lime Horus pretty well known for playing these kind of heroes, the Pharah, anything that's projectile based they can excel on, so that could make a big difference. Blur will feel like he has a lot more support damage-wise, perhaps, than they did before, and you can see the difference it made.
Once again, finding Kyo. Lime finding Hammond. Jinxie pops Valk, and Lime a third. Blur gets Yami maybe. Diva leaves. Trizzle says, I want no part of this anymore. Out of there. And Lime, after recently just using Barrage, has 57% of the way to another one, as ults on the side for Goats aren't looking the best here.
Lime can kind of say, you guys need me clearly, right? Because you can see the difference they're making here to start it off. There's so much damage. Yes, Risen picks up the last hit there, but that was Lime putting damage in from above that really made the difference there.
Absolutely. And they're just trying to get out of this hallway here as Lime is just pelting. But Nia finds Mercy. That's huge for Jinxie. Then the Nano comes in, so they're going to look to kill off Lime here, and Trizzle will find it after getting nanoed. Big fight win after getting all the way up to about 75%, unless we see a stall here, which we won't. 74, I was close. Trizzle finds Risen.
Very, very late pick onto Risen here. And that was Jinxie, I think, getting a little bit big for britches there. I think she might have had the Gat out shooting down range, which ended up getting her killed.
Bomb over the top. Nope. That was close.
Yeah, it was close. That was really close.
Pile driver in, misses the sleep dart on Blur, so they're just gonna walk in. Here's a barrage, looking for one, does get at least one with Yami maybe. Lime finds Nian afterwards. The mines have also been committed to this fight. Trizzle does find Lime out of this, but Risen gets Kyo. They're gonna look for Rez. The Gat is out. Jinxie is trying, does D-Mech, looking for another one. Oh, Jinxie with the Mercy. Oh, beautiful play. We love that.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work, but you'll never know if you don't try. So one thing I will say, Davin, is you're new to South African Overwatch here, but let me tell you, Pharah dominating a game, that is typical South African Overwatch. Because remember, we've got a Deadeye coming in and immediately takes out the birds.
Big High Noon taking out the flying characters here. Kyo trying to stay alive, does actually keep alive. P5 goes down. They're gonna flip at the 99 mark. And it's possible for Goats to make this a comeback. The ult charge here is interesting. Valk on the side for LGBTQ times and Pulse Bomb, but you have Soldier and ult that we've been holding on to since they've got it. Trizzle and Yami maybe. There's 2 ults right now. It's time. Bomb goes off. Nian finds Laan, but Keo also goes down and all that. Pulse Bomb finds none. Hammond is looking, gets Jinxie, gets P5. The Sojourn said, let me do it. I've saved it for a reason. 91, 92 and counting. Do we have a potential hold here? Blur will get off with the point. We'll be able to touch, force overtime, but will we get people back? Blur's going to go down. Do we have another? Jinxie actually is going to pop ult, and it doesn't look like they're going to be able to touch. Nian gets Lime. Jinxie tried, and it just couldn't happen. It looked like a really, really good potential win here for LGBTQ times, but right at the end, that ult advantage really saw it. You saw the ult usage be a little rough there at the end, so we'll see how this map plays out. But 99 to 100, I mean, it's not like this game has been a pushover.
And now we go to a completely different map style as well, right? You can dominate the skies with the Pharah on Night Market, but now it's much more of a brawly map type. We see Blur switching on to that Rhine. They've got the Lucio, the Moira. They want to get really aggressive, slice people with the Mei, and punch them down with the Rhine and the Cassidy. On the other side, it's Drizzle on that flipping Ramatra. He's like, I'm gonna make it work, guys. At some point, it's gonna work, and we're gonna feel really good about it.
This is the map to do it on.
Yeah,
they're gonna be 4v5 here for a little bit, as Mei is also coming from spawn, switching off the sim to do so. Personally, I think you definitely should have used Cass to do that, but you know, it's neither here nor there. Risen is gonna go down immediately to Nian. Did get hit with an anti-nade there. It's still 4v5, but Jinxie ends up getting Hammond. Blur's antied here, but doesn't go down without a fight. Takes Trizzle out with him going down. Nian is clutching up this map. Nian has looked phenomenal here. Is going to look to find Lime, but Nian is in a lot of trouble here. Lime gets Nian, and Lime also playing one of the biggest factors to this team right now. Just getting everybody, hitting heads, hitting body shots with the rockets. It's looking phenomenal.
Yeah, so far doing very well here, adding a lot to the squad. And no disrespect to Frosty, of course. He played DPS pretty well himself, but it seems like Lime Morris has really leveled this team up as Blur looks to get aggressive here. He's so angry, he's so mad.
He is angry. He said we should have lost the last map. I'm taking out all my frustration on y'all. I'm solo shattering. I do not care. I'm taking 3 down. And a quick fight win, and very decisive fight win for LGBTQ times as their percentage is clocking up. Keo does have Nano, and Trizzle has the Annihilation here though, so we'll see how that plays out.
Well,
there's Nano.
Defensive support outs, but they're gonna start with the Nano here, as you say. Throw out the Coalescence, but Annihilation.
And he is suffering. He's telling sufferers, I have 2 down. DPS go down. Keo finds Blur, and they're still suffering. He does get P5 with the ult. It is just big. That combo is so hard to beat. With no beat online, it is so hard. Nian finds Jinxie there at the end too. 50% though, on point.
Yeah, they'll be pretty happy with that, but it's a hard lineup to push through here. And that Annihilation, man, whenever I see people use it, it seems so OP. When I use it, I just get exploded immediately. But Trizzle knows how to get it done, and they are now coming into the sound barrier as well. So it's gonna be a tough push here. The Blizzard might be key.
Here is the sound barrier early. The wall blocks off Trizzle from the rest of the team. Jinxie and Co find him. Jinxie finds a second and a third. Blur is going to go down for it, but Risen's going to find Hammond. We're going to hear the team kill signal go off. 30% over there for Goats, but 51% and counting now for LGBTQ times. They're trying to make a difference here. Try to get this map win and force map 3 or point 3.
Really nice, swift clap back there, but it really came down to the Mei wall. But how fast are they getting back in here? Trizzle, aggressive cut-off once again, though, in the corner, and the Blizzard on top of that. This could be a good start for
high noon on top is huge. Both DPS ult pops up, but it's a little bit better. Hammond finds 2. Shatter goes down on Trizzle. It doesn't matter. Lime, another head tap on the Hammond, and that's another win, but a very expensive win at that. 4 ults used for LGBTQ times, but 3 ults used for Goats. 7 ults in total.
It's gonna have to be a pretty lean fight here, and this is the kind of squad LGBTQ times that's happy to be set up, taking a lean fight. They've got the Mei that can make the difference. Another big wall. Trizzle's actually switched over to the Rhine now, wants to match Blur, strike for strike. They've cut the Anna off with the wall, so this is a good start for LGBTQ times.
Risen finds Trizzle though, but Lime goes down. P5 finds Yami, maybe. Jinxie finds Hammond. The ult goes online. Keo can't build the Nano in time. Jinxie on the Moira. Well, I was talking about gatting people with Mercy. The Moira was insane.
Makes a lot more sense with the Moira, right, than it does with the Mercy, and kind of feels like it fits Jinxie's playstyle a bit more. It allows her to play that aggro style, but really that felt like the Mei difference right there, right? It seemed like every time it just meant they could shut Trizzle down so much more effectively by cutting him off from the rest of his team and dealing with him. And if you can shut Trizzle down on the front line, it's the best way to deal with this GOAT squads, it seems like. So if they can keep doing that, but it's easy to do on Control Center. It's nowhere near as easy to do on Garden. So back to the Diva now, back to his comfort hero here is Trizzle, and Blur going to be on the ball. So we'll have to wait and see if Limos can make the difference in the boop off.
Boop to start. Yami maybe just unfortunate on the bridge. And we're seeing Echo coming out. Trizzle does find Jinxie out of this and Lime out of it. So maybe that pick wasn't all that bad, but P5 finds Nian. It's looking close. P5's real low here. P5's going to go down, but Blur finds Hammond. So it's a 2v3 right now on point. We'll see if this helps. Blur does get Kyo, so make it an even 2v2. It's Tracer and Monkey. It's a ball versus the Lucio and the Diva on point. Tracer coming back, though. Nian is back in the fight. Mercy is here. Jinxie has arrived to the fight. We're getting a couple people here. Reinforcements are in. Hammond actually runs off the map, was trying to get closer, but couldn't do it. Trizzle actually loses mech, and this might be a fight win very quickly. Unless Nian says something about it, finding Jinxie out of all that mines early into this. We haven't even gotten a point cap yet, and we have mines. There's a Diva Bomb. I'm sorry, not Diva Bomb. The mech is, but Diva Bomb is almost online. It's so close. Can Nian maybe find a pick with the pulse bombs, or one of the Tracers find a pulse bomb here? No one, both Tracers are literally 1 HP right now. This fight has never ended. It's just quick after quick, but Risen wins the Tracer duel. Risen is coming back with Pulse Bomb. Trizzle finds P5, does find Yami, maybe, but goes down with the Pulse Bomb. It is so close. If Trizzle finds one, the cap finally flips for GOATs. It's insane.
It's insane, but Trizzle was alive that whole time. He found pick after pick after pick. He's taking so much pressure off the rest of his team, giving them space and putting out the damage as well. Blur doing an incredible job, all self-destruct over the top. Shouldn't catch anybody. But,
did not catch anybody. It was close, though.
It's always close, it feels like, with Trizzle, but Blur immediately getting aggressive here on the ball, looking to open things up for his team.
Yep. And here we go. Everyone is looking. Copy onto Diva here. Beat go in to keep the copy up is actually really intelligent. Both there are two Divas on field. Kyo actually pops Kiriko ult to try to keep it a fight, but Hammond finds one now. Risen gets res though. Bomb goes off, doesn't find anything. Kyo finds the baby Diva to get Echo back out of copy. Kyo's looking his low here, but actually gets healed up because of the passive. Another mines here. Beat down for Yami. Maybe Nian finds Jinxie out of all that. Trizzle is demeched here, but will it be enough as Lime finds Kyo? That's huge. Nian finds Lime, though. Blur gets Yami maybe with the mines. It is so close of a fight on point. It feels like every fight here has been just contested heavily. Blur getting 2 with the mines, booping back and forth. Nian is trying to contest late after Trizzle goes down, but cannot do so. Will get the point flip. Nian is going to go down, and 63% to first cap is going to be interesting here.
Absolutely, but I mean, Blur with the mines is he's making such a huge difference. He's charging them so quickly, placing them on the point, and kind of cutting off the team of GOATs from getting into the point. And you know, you don't focus for 1 second, you get caught by a mine, and all of a sudden you're out of the game. But you're gonna look for a flank here, move around that left side, our GOATs, and try and get the damage down. But there's a big out advantage for our blue squad.
Yep, that's 2. There's pulse. There's the bomb is huge. Trizzle goes down though in the process of all that, so that could be super helpful. P5 is the only support up. This ends now, didn't end anything this time, but Lime is down to Nian. It is actually still a really close fight because we have the ball on point with another mines locked and loaded almost. Blur finds Kyo. Yami maybe does find P5, but it's a 2v4 on point. The Blur does go down right before mines. Nian finds Risen. And you know what? After a very eventful 1-fight win, though, they're going to stagger it a little bit. They're actually going to look to get this point a lot higher than they want to. Jinxie does go down very early. They're going to invest beat into this as well. They're going to look to beat. Hammond finding Jinxie. Hammond demecking Lime, the copied Diva that is. Echo is now back into the regular form. Blur is back with it, and they actually might win the fight. 2 down. Neon Neon gets one, Blur gets one with mines. Beats coming out from Yami maybe, and this is still a crazy fight. The stagger and point control, the LGBTQ times is what's doing the difference here, is the 80% instead of 55% what they would have had initially. The pile drive is huge, but Jinxie goes down. But P5 exchanges, the Lucio Blur finds Hammond, and they're gonna have to back out. We're in last fight territory. P5 finds a second. I didn't think they could flip it, but the ult usage was just phenomenal, and they want to tie this series up here.
Wouldn't surprise me if Blur made the call there. Commit. We can save this. We can get it done, and they can absolutely as overtime ticks over. Now Blur drops off the map.
Though. No, pulse bomb out. Diva bomb out. They're trying so hard. Kiriko ult, Kitsune rush on and play. They're trying to flip this now, because if they don't, they are out. 2 down on the side of LGBTQ times, 3 down. They get a res on Risen, so it could be something insane here. Pulse bomb goes off, but doesn't get anything. Risen's still trying to find something. The Valk is going off right now. Blur is actually back in action. The stall is insane from this team of LGBTQ times. They don't know what's going on, but Trizzle still finds Jinxie out of all that. Can they finally secure the point here? Risen finds Keo, but Nian finds P5. Risen goes down to Hammond on a head tap with that beautiful rail gun. Nian finds Blur. Lime maybe wanted to contest there, but knowing it's 99, not worth it.
Not at all, and with Blur going down, absolutely, you just let it go. There's nothing to gain here from staying in there, but he does come up towards another mines here. They've got Overclock on the other side, but it's going to be tough to hold here. A single pick could make the difference here. Limor on the Echo, looking to put pressure, but Blur goes in deep once again. If they can find someone in the backline, that'll start the fight perfectly, and Sound Barrier to boot.
Yep, beat coming out. They're going to copy too. They're going to use fights early. This now from Hammond trying to find something. Jinxie actually goes down. Mines is on the point though. Is it going to help out? It's on the front side. Hammond gets another one in Risen. Beat comes out. Nerfing this. Does D-Mech Trizzle after Trizzle gets right back into Mech. It's so close. Lime is super low here. Does go down. The point. Blur is just trying to contest here. They used everything. LGBTQ times used it all. They had this map won. They're just stalling with Lucio. They're stalling with Ball. They're trying to find a pick. They will find one. They're gonna find a Lime res actually out of all that. So now it's 4v4 on the point. The bomb is off from Trizzle. Finds Jinxie though without the bomb. It's 3v3 now. Put his Hammond goes down to Lime. Trizzle off point trying to chase. Blur finds Neon. Lime goes down to Neon. It's 2v2 Trace. It's the tanks and the Tracers here. They're trying to find some trades here. Risen looking for a pick. Lucio's are back in the fray. The point is being stalled out by Lucio's. Risen falls off the map. No! But Blur finds the end, so the Tracers are down. It is now tanks and Lucio's. The help. Another pulse. Another mines coming out. It is insane fight gameplay here as we have a 4v4 point. Blur finds Hammond with a boop or the anchor. It is looking so good as Trizzle gets put out. The hook just helps him out. And it is looking crazy fight here. The Kitsune rush doesn't even get put out because he goes down. But Nian and Trizzle fight too here. Trizzle's back. Nian finds a third. It's insane. It's just never-ending fight. Blur and Risen trying their best to stay afloat here. Blur finally goes down. Risen's 1 HP. It's not looking good. Risen goes down and goes somehow out of all of that. Wins map 3 and gives them a 2-0 lead in the series. I just, wow.
what an absolute mess towards the end there. Just player after player coming in, pick after pick. Eventually, though, it's GOATS that comes out on top. And they felt like the team that really were a little bit more put together there. You feel like if Blur on the ball hadn't been so hard to kill, that match would have been over a long time ago. But he kept coming back in. He kept having mines. Every time you looked, it felt like there were mines on the map and really keeping them in here. But this is GOATS, I think, showing us why they're at the top of this group so far. And 2-0 up now in this match. It's looking rough for LGBTQ times. And it felt like the control map would be their best opportunity with how their playstyle plays out. But GOATS fended them off here. And now as we head into the next map, they're sitting pretty here to get another 3-0 here.
I did see Risen's falling off the map there. It looked like ran out of blinks, was trying to blink over to the health pack and didn't have another one and flies off the map. But it has just been, it's been just play after play from Blur trying to keep that team afloat, and they just couldn't target focus down a certain people that they needed to in order to win the fights. That's basically what it came down to at the end there. But the picks from Nian at the end is really what set them apart. They got 2, and that's what won them that map there.
And that's kind of typical of Laan on the Tracer as well. He's always able to find the heroes somewhere, winning the Tracer duels or otherwise finding pickoffs, and been a very effective player like that for such a long time. But I also just want to say, one silver lining here coming out of this game is that with Lymorus back in the squad, it feels like they are looking a lot more put together. Yes, they still ended up losing the map, but the maps they were doing well in are the ones where Lymorus was able to express themselves and really, really back Blur up DPS-wise. And that's going to make a big difference going forward, I think.
Yeah, man, it's a crazy game. And my thing is, the score says 2-0, but this doesn't feel like a 2-0. This feels like an insanely great game. Like, it is so close on Lijiang there. And I believe we're heading to Route 66 now. And LGBTQ Times does do well on this map. They've been winning this map very frequently. So we'll see what goes on here. It's gonna be interesting, right? Because
they've done the reverse sweep already, right? So they're storied when it comes to going down 2-0 and coming back. So there's a chance here. The teams are taking a short 5-minute break here. Interestingly, now this is something I always like to think about is who asks for the break and why. And it's interesting that the team currently with the momentum, right? It was Trizzle who requested the break. They're the team with the momentum. You'd think they want to just carry that through, but for whatever reason, they want to take the foot off the gas there. What do you think about that, Davin? Do you think there's anything to that, or
it might just be a bio? I also could be the fact that they just had to stall for 7 years, and that map took a lot out of you. Need a minute just to get back before we go right back into the game. You know what I mean? So everybody was playing at a very high level there, trying their best, trying to get picks, trying to do this. It's just insane. So I think, as Hammond says, if you didn't jump off map at least once that game, what are you doing? Hammond jumped off. I believe we saw Risen get off the map as well during that. There was a boop that Yami maybe flew off the map. So it was some fun times.
I think Blur also found his way off the map at some point. So.
Yeah, you're right. On the way back to stall. So I think it could just be taking a minute. They're up 2-0. It's not a matter of, we're going to lose momentum from this. They've shown why they can win the maps. I mean, again, these maps have been really close. We see a 3-2 and a 2-1, right? It's not like this has been a complete another shutdown. The big thing that has been it, and I think it comes down to execution, right? So both teams are playing extremely well, but what sets a good team away from a great team is the end game execution, right? So in the stall there, you saw some good probably call outs, some good target focus, and some good solo plays that win them the match. Blur almost had those same solo plays. Risen and Lime even had those solo plays. You saw Jinxie get off a res there that honestly would on Lime that could have been the game changer. But then you see Nian come back and kit 2, then Trizzle gets the other 2, and they win the fight because of it. So it's really, really coming down to execution right at the end there. It was the same with the other map, right? You saw Hammond come alive and hit every shot known to man on Midtown. So it's really good. It's really come down to execution. It's been like 2 or 3 plays that have seriously set apart the GOATs from LGBTQ Times in this match. And again, I really want to preface that LGBTQ Times is not playing bad at all. This has been a phenomenal banger of a game. Even if I see the score saying 2-0, this game has been insane.
It'll be sad to get a 3-0 here, just because that doesn't really feel like a good reflection of what we've seen so far. And yeah, it does feel like a game of moments of individual brilliance. Often there's a lot of times where an individual will make a big play, and that will kind of set the tone of the team fight off or secure something that in a different situation a different player might not have been able to get done. So that it is very interesting to see that, and it's kind of something you expect with a tournament like this, where these teams won't have seen each other before. They won't have played together outside of a few duos here or there. And you're kind of learning how each other plays, learning each other's best heroes and the best way to play around each other. And it seems like GOATs found that rhythm faster than anybody else has so far. And often what you'll see in the Pride Cup is that the team that does the best is the team whose SRs are closest together. So often the team with an average SR of diamond or whatever it is will do better than a team with 2 GMs and the rest are all bronze. So I don't know the the actual distribution here. But looking at the players, I suspect goats might be like relatively evenly matched SR wise, and that always helps because everyone's on the same page, and that makes such a big difference in any team game, of course, but Overwatch especially.
Yeah, they're all in like the plat diamond masters range from what I've noticed. I think Trizzle's a GM damage player, but a masters tank player. So it's like those types of things. I mean, GM, you still have the GM mechanics, you still have the GM knowledge, which helps a lot with how you play the game. But it's around the same range. I'm not really sure with LGBT guys. I haven't had a chance to look at their ranks and go through everything. If they have them unlocked, that is. So we'll see how that works out there. But I mean, the 5-minute break again. I think it's just a hey, wait, that was a map. Let's let the casters get the voices back. Let them take a minute and get back into it after having to cast what just happened. I mean, LGBTQ Times has gotten their stuff together on the last 3 maps. I'm not sure if they're undefeated on the last 3 maps or not. I don't know how the 3-1 series went for them. But I do know for a fact that they reverse swept this one. So,
so
they've won. That game actually starts here.
Yeah, for LGBTQ Times, they've gotten rid of their handicap there. They gave the goats the 2 maps, and now they can start playing for real.
Exactly.
One thing I was getting into actually is that it's worth remembering that everyone here is playing on 150 ping minimum, and so that's why I feel like sometimes the Pharah can feel super dominant. Because when your hit scan is playing with 150 ping, it's not nearly as easy to shut down a Pharah.
Yeah,
you could with 10 to 50 ping. So that's we like I said to you, Davin, on Night Market. Often we can see Pharah just be a total dominant force, but she's not unbeatable. And same with Echo, we saw it there. Limeros leaning on the birds, the Echo, the Pharah, but not pushing the team to a victory. So that's a good sign from goats, because often a team that plays well together can be sort of dismantled by a Pharah. So it's good to see that goats are able to put up with that pressure.
And it shows good individual gameplay from Laan, because that was the person that was trying to help out with the pharmacy. They were playing the Cassidy and trying to hit shots. You saw the High Noon take out both on the point, the first point that they won, and it's looking good. But I will say the maps that are up, we have Route 66, we're ending on Ilios, and then Esperanza. So Route 66 can help you get a lot of momentum if you're LGBTQ Times because of the comps you play. LGBTQ Times likes to play monkey with Blur. They like the Mercy. They like Ana. They like those characters. Yeah. Route 66 is the perfect map to run that comp. And if you want to play Brawl, which one map they've won so far was Brawl, that 0.3 is perfect for that if you can get there. So they have a lot to work with here. I think they have a very high advantage with this first couple of points here if they want to play monkey. I haven't seen the Trizzle monkey yet, but we have seen Trizzle clutch up on Diva. We'll see how that plays out, as I think we're gonna jump in here momentarily.
Yeah, I think we are. I think Trizzle tends to lean on the tanks that are more reflective of a DPS playstyle. So the Diva makes a lot of sense. I imagine he's probably pretty good at the Junker Queen if he's put any time into it. And of course, the Ramatra, anything he can play aggressive with it and put that. So I wouldn't surprise me if we don't see him play much monkey here, because that's kind of a main tank's tank. Blur is a main tank from Overwatch 1. He played thousands of hours of Overwatch 1, so his Overwatch 1 tanks are super good. His actual tank mechanics are super strong. Whereas Trizzle's obviously been focused for a lot longer on the DPS. But we'll have to wait and see as we jump into Route 66. It wouldn't surprise me to see Blur lean on the monkey. We've seen how dominant his ball can be as well. So I think that might be key. And then the other key is to see if either team leans on that Pharah here. She's pretty popular on Route 66 for sure. So I'll be interested to see whether either team decides they want to try and make something happen from the skies.
Yep, exactly. So we'll see what comps they decide to go out on. It's going to be very fun. I mean, everyone is the chat once again is spamming those boats, trying to get goats to 3-0 here for a third time in this Pride Cup. We're going to see Trizzle immediately come out on Diva. I do like that pick. Hammond on the Hanzo, which has been phenomenal. Nian on the Tracer, which you already know what that's about. I think this is a very comfort comp for them. They are very good at running this comp together. And I do like that we've seen Yami maybe peel a little bit more for Keo, so that Blur is not just jumping in there and getting the pick off. And that's what was hurting them on the first couple points of Midtown on their defense.
Yeah, absolutely. And Blur, it's not as easy to get pickoffs with the Hammond as it is with the Winston. It's kind of less the purpose of that hero, but he's going to be trying to sow chaos in the backline, and Anna doesn't really want to mess around with that. But otherwise, on the side of LGBTQ time, it's going to be the soldier here from Limeros, which is quite interesting.
It's very interesting. I mean, Hammond is great on this map. Has a lot of... It's a playground for Monkey. The ball. Hook is just really easy to work with here. And it's fun to utilize on this high ground, trying to take advantage of big Earls. Jumping in early, Risen is actually going really low here, but will get healed up. The Moira and the Kiriko out here for this comp is very interesting. I think I would have preferred a Mercy over Moira, but we'll see how this plays out. Whoa, again, comfort.
Yeah, the Mercy makes a lot of sense with the double scan for sure. So I'm surprised to not see that, but Blur in the back line finds Keo. Very good start.
Prevent the res. Prevent the res. And they get the DMAC out of all that, so they're going to break this point wide open. Niana's contesting on point, but P5 finds it. Blur finds Trizzle out of all that. Hammond's going to go down. A team kill for them, and I mean, it's close enough to the point where they might not knock out point one, but it's going to be really close.
I'd like to see them get aggressive here, actually, and kind of try and gum up the choke points here and prevent them from coming through very easily, because I think there is enough time to get a contest here, and it looks like that's exactly what COWZA are going to try and do here. Lead perhaps with the Tracer, allow time for Trizzle to get in. Now, Trizzle's actually going to come through early here, so they will get a contest here, but it's kind of going to be piecemeal.
Ooh, Lime finds Niana there with the Soldier. Good play. And the res is going to come out, but it's not going to be enough. It might not be enough because they are really close here. Blur already found Yami maybe, but Trizzle finds Lime. They're going to nano. They're going to mines the point too. P5 is going to go down. Trizzle with the nano is going to find a few. Bomb is coming out. The point is close, but it is not close enough. They're going to... Risen is uncontested right now. Actually finding people on the picks here. Trizzle and Nian are still contesting point. Blur's trying to find something with everything here. People are on fire. Lime is back. Lime gets the DMAC. We're looking to potentially cap here, but it's really close. There's still people on point. There goes Trizzle finally. Risen gets a... Nian is contesting. The pulse bomb goes off. Does find Risen, but Nian goes down. Yami maybe finds Trizzle. The smush onto Jinxie. And now we're popping ults. You got him in his sights. Hammond does go down. Lime is real low here. P5 is anti. Blur finds Keo, and that should be a fight win here for LGBTQ times.
Could be, but Trizzle's still alive. We've got more people coming in now. Oh, immediately
just
gets executed by Lime. Yeah, just puts the hand out.
No.
Well, stay where you are, so head back to spawn. But I mean, there's a lot to talk about in that team fight. Of course, Blur just absolutely dominant on the ball. Not dying is the key to playing the hero so much. And Risen from the high ground doing an incredible job. But a really, really nice coming through from Yami. Rez coming through, from Yami maybe, which kept them in the fight. So really, really back and forth. And I think Goats will be really happy with that as Hammond drops off early.
Lime has woken up. Hammond is put down again. They're going to get the res off on it, but man. But they're going to try to find Keo here. They're going to mine the high ground. It doesn't find Yami maybe. It was really close though. It was really close. Lime gets executed by Hammond. A little bit of revenge kill right there for Hammond. And Bob is going to come into the fight. Bob's looking for something, but Risen goes down. No DPS on the side of LGBTQ times. Bob's going to go off. Hammond's going to go down. Bomb is going to find Jinxie at all that. Nian and Pulse Bomb is going to find P5, so it's just Blur. Blur slept, but Blur's not going to be able to do anything here with just a ball by them lonesome. So Blur's going to head on out of here.
Yeah, he's going to just try and make his way out. He's going to be chased by Tracer, but won't really find anything here. They do have the Kitsune Rush coming to the next fight, but 3 ults on the side of Goats here. So they're happy to take this. Valk, plenty of extra damage from the Nano as well, and a Dragon Strike might just be to clear the point. They're going to start with Nano here. Trizzle, look to find an opening pick.
They're going to go early, but Jinxie does have match it with the Coalescence here, trying to prevent that fight. There go Dragons off. P5 is just caught in the middle of it. Jinxie does find Trizzle, and Jinxie finds Hammond. Trizzle's mech is no longer a thing, but Trizzle finds Lime as a baby diva. Being pocketed by a Mercy, trying to get back, and mech finds a second as baby diva. It's insanity. Jinxie can't find another one here. We'll get back in mech, and that was just rough. Jinxie's gonna go down to Trizzle. Risen's gonna move over to Tracer off of Ash. which I do like the change here. If you're not going to play Mercy with it, I think Tracer's going to make a lot of difference here against Laan.
Yeah, I agree, absolutely. And I mean, Trizzle is as scary with the Bunny Blaster as he is with the Scatter Cannons. So, scary stuff here. If you are LGBT times, the sleep onto Blur here, anti-heal as well. You might be able to get out of here, but the pressure is building.
But Jinxie goes down out of that. Pulse Bomb goes off, but the Lime Kiriko rush with that, with sights, kills 2. Blur gets Kyo out of all that. P5 head taps Laan on the fall down. What a hit. And now the point is moving once again for LGBTQ times, trying to get this point going. A minute and a half remaining in this attack for them. They really need to cap this point and get as far as humanly possible because they desperately need a map win to stay in this game.
Absolutely, yeah. But now what they can do is they can get set up here on the high ground. They're almost playing a defense now. They can control that choke point, and they're going to look to do that here with Blur on the ball. And the rest of the squad here, Limemore's pumping the damage through. Laan goes 10. No, losing so many players, though. This is a bad start.
Yeah, Lime and P5.
Yeah.
Laan got a little bit of revenge on P5 after getting head tapped, finding the one clip there, and it was just a little rough. Trizzle gets risen out of that, so there's just no one left. Under a minute left, 45 seconds, matter of fact, to play. It's gonna be a little rough here if you're on the side of LGBTQ times. This defense has been pretty good. Torb is gonna come out though from Lime. Actually not a terrible pick when you're going up against the Tracer that's been a menace to society.
Yeah,
we're gonna Dragons early here. Lime is gonna run out very low here. We'll get the Mega. Blur is in the back line with Mind. Kyo takes out the turret. Lime is gonna go down to Hammond. Blur is trying to find something with ball. Hammond finds a second. Oh, that might be it. Blur's so low here. Can't do anything to get out. Hammond's gonna find the third. Finish off that kill. And Risen's looking to contest.
Is he gonna get the touch?
They're gonna put that in. No, they will.
Oh, yeah?
They actually get the touch off. P5 and Risen actually get it. Pulse Bomb on Lime. Lime is just in spawn. Laan is finding Risen here. Laan finds P5 and that's it.
Damn. It was looking so good, and Goats just switched on and shut them down. Laan getting so many picks at the end there. That was an interesting fight to watch from the overhead view, because Blur spent that whole fight pulling the attention of both supports on the high ground. Like, he was just completely pulling all the healing away from the Goat squad, and in spite of that, Goat still dominated the main fight. So that's kind of been a theme of it, right? Blur making so much space, putting in so much damage, creating so much chaos in the backline, but unfortunately his squad just isn't able to take advantage of it in quite the way that he might have wanted to push them to success. But they've given themselves something to defend here at the very least, right? That point on that position on second point is very much defensible, but it feels like a lot has to go right for LGBTQ times, and they're going to try and shift things up here. They're going to go with that Torbjorn again on Lime Morris. They're going to go with the Sojourn, so a bit more of a static composition, and they're going to set that up behind the Rhine Shield, and even bring in the Brigitte. So this is a total tonal shift here from LGBTQ times.
I really like this because they're going to hold in the train here is what what I would do if I was playing this comp, which is exactly what they're doing. They're short walking here. Brig is going to be a little late though. So we have Risen on the high ground trying to find picks. Lime is going to play Torb, P5 in there. They're going to try to do something here. Torb turret goes down. They're going to play close, and Trizzle goes right up there and knows exactly what's happening. But Blur's immediately Blur's super low here. Blur might go down. Blur will not go down. Actually gets a lot of help here from the rest of the roster. Risen finds Hammond though. Big pick off. Risen also finds Trizzle's mech here. So that's going to be good for this stagger here. They need to time stall as much as possible. Laan trying to get the pick off on Risen, but can't find it. This is huge if you're on the side of LGBTQ times. Getting 2 quick picks and another one for Hammond. Hammond can't stay alive now.
30 seconds already burnt off the clock now. This is perfect. Best case scenario for this aggressive defense. They have lost Risen now. They're still set up aggressively, but Brig and Ryan, Blur and Jinxie on the front lines there. A law bonus duo here looking to keep LGBTQ times in the game here. They're doing such a good job of it so far, but at some point this will break, but it gives them plenty of time to get back and get up another defense. Yeah, Ryan going down, that should be it.
Yeah, I mean, hey, listen, they're just staggering right now, right? They're trying to stall the point out. A minute off the clock. I really would like Torb to die on point here, try to help out. Risen's actually going to come in and try to do something here. Won't find anything. Hammond goes down, but it's so close to spawn, it's not going to matter. They're just going to res it anyway. But Lime's going to have Torbolt. Nano's online now too. The person with ults is Nian, who also opened the door for them with the Widowmaker swap.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, the Widowmaker swap. Not feeling like the Tracer's going to bring them value here. You feel like the Tracer could split them up, but instead he's just going to look for picks here. That's a big bomb potentially. No. 2 shields.
Didn't find anything. It was close.
Yeah, again. We say that every time Drizzle ulties.
Jinxie does go down, but Lime and Hammond also go down. The DPS duo over here are out of here. Oh, and a big blur just charges in and gets a pick on Keo. Nian gets rezzed. You never know with a Widowmaker how they can flip a fight. But I do like this. 2 minutes left on the clock, and that's a lot of time bled out on GOATS. LGBTQ time doing a great job with this close hold comp. I love what they got going on, and now have 3 ultimates. We're gonna see the Widow swap over to the cast though for Nian.
Tactically, this is very, very strong stuff from LGBTQ times. They read the situation, they knew they might be at a disadvantage here, so they go for that aggressive hold, and it's given them time to come back for a comfortable stay. It's a big shatter. It's
2 down. He's gonna find both of them. Actually finds Keo in all of that as well. It's looking really rough here if you're on the side of GOATS. They have 2 ults. 3 will be online with Hammond, but they're running down 4 ults. They used exactly Shatter for that fight.
Perfect execution there. He only hits 2, but that's more than enough to get the job done in Overwatch 2. They clean up the tank, they clean up the support, and they push themselves forward. And as you say, they've still got 4 ults in the bag here. They can comfortably expect to hold this, but it's all about execution. And GOATS has been stellar execution-wise so far this series.
And a Molten Core here to stall. They're going to Nano Trizzle, but they're also going to match with a Nano Blur. Blur is walking in. The Dragons comes out. That might find one, but it won't. Lime was real close. Risen actually pops ult, so they're going to pop 3 ults here. And Risen has risen to the occasion and finds 2. Keo gets 1. Risen with another one. Just clutching up for them, getting a big pick off. They used 3 ults. The other side used a lot of ults there too. Just Trizzle's bomb is online, but we have one of the biggest ults in the game, and that is the Brig Rally to help out on the side of LGBTQ times. This is going down to the wire. 25 seconds on the clock here, and no 0.1 cap yet.
Not yet, but it can all turn on its head so quick. They've got the self-destruct. Drizzle's been so good at that. It's been close, but at some point it's not. He throws it in, the rally gets popped. Just the turret goes down.
Just finding the turret. Trizzle's gone though. Keo's now down. They're trying to get a res off. They will find the res. I don't know if they have a touch here. Hammond is the only one close enough. And will be able to get there. It is a big map win for LGBTQ times. Their backs were against the wall, didn't have an option, and they came out and rose to the occasion to make this a 2-1. And this play of the game is insane. Risen, again, rising to the occasion, showing why we need the map win. Pops the ult, finds 1 headshot, finds a second one, and it's just looking beautiful. They get a D-mech. Oh, and got it with the slow. That's huge. We love that.
Very. I mean, again, that was just tactical excellence from LGBTQ times, reading the situation, reading the state of the game, and executing accordingly. And that feels like a Blur play. He'll kind of operate almost certainly as the leader of this team. And that seems like, from the leading from the front, he says, let's get up close, let's play behind off the back of this Reinhardt, and let's get the job done. And they hold like, a minute and a half up close, and then they've got plenty of time to get back in, and then the ult rotations after that. Perfect. That fight there where they just used the shadow set them up perfectly for that final team fight hold. So very impressive stuff here from LGBTQ Town. So they had to dig deep for that. They really had to dig deep, pull out something special, every player stepping up, and they get the job done on Route 66. But now we head over to Push, we head over to Esperanza, and this might be a playground for Trizzle and Jan to get jobs done. So many paths to, so much flanking opportunities. It could be tough for LGBTQ times, who ended up leaning on a very static cohesive composition there. They're going to have to go back to something a bit more chaotic, perhaps.
Well, we'll see, because what I've learned from both of these teams is their Tracer play is great. Risen and Nian are both good at Tracer. They're going toe-to-toe with each other. But Esperanza is a big brawly-esque map too. So we could see a Queen come out from here. We could see the Reinhardt come out. We could see the Ramatra come out. It might not be a Diva Winston playground like we usually see. We've seen from so far this game. So we could see some different comps come out, and I think there's potential for even the Echo coming out from Laan, which would be huge gameplay as we've seen already. So I do think that GOATS is set up for success on this map based off of what we've seen so far, but I'm not counting out the LGBTQ times. Getting that map win was huge for them, and it could actually spark a lot of momentum because of how they won it, right? Yeah. They didn't let them cap first point. They only got a 1.5 points, right? But they did not let them get past that first point. A 1-0 win is nothing to sneeze at, and we will see what comps we're running on this push map. Like I said, Ram Queen.
It's gonna be Blur on the Ramatra this time if he chooses to come out with it. That's interesting. You'd feel like Trizzle, this is exactly the kind of map where you want to express himself on the Ramatra, but he's gonna go for that Junker Queen.
But Junker Queen is more of a DPS-esque character, right? Yeah, you get a lot of damage off on it. So that's where I can see the Queen coming out. Hammond just sticking to the Hanzo. The Mei is gonna be a problem for GOATS.
Yeah.
See how it plays out though.
We will indeed. Yeah.
The classic meet in the middle, scrap it out. Can we talk about the Lucio duel that's been happening? The Lucio duel has been fun today from Yami maybe in P5. But Blur is wasting no time getting up in the faces of the enemy team. Yami maybe is half already. Nian is getting kind of low here. Drizzle taking a lot of damage, but the shout is helping out the team get some HP back and get some aggression going through. Trizzle finds Risen out of all that. Hammond finds Blur, and that's going to be a fight win there quickly for GOAT.
Oh, the steamrolling through there. Hammond picks up 3 towards the end of that there, but losing Risen right off the bat. The main not working out there. It felt like a pretty decent wall, but not finding anything. And yeah, Lima says, I'm down with that nonsense. Let me bring out the Shimada bro here, the Genji, and Blur. It's a wholesale compositional switch here. They're going to look really to go aggressive now.
Ball, Genji, Echo. I was expecting Lime on the Echo, but I mean, Risen can rock it out too. Risen we've seen be very diverse from the character pool that they've been able to play so far. P5 and Jinxie are sticking to Kiriko Moira, which I really like. No Lucio anymore. So we're going to see how this plays out. 36 meters already on the first push here, but that doesn't mean we've got anything crazy going on. Lime is getting real low here, does get the HP back. Pulse Bomb is out, doesn't get anything, but Risen finds Trizzle, and just like I commented on the Echo, Lime finds a dash through Hammond, getting a good dash reset. Risen finds a second, Blur finds one, and this comp change might be what they needed. But the ult charge is what's going to look different here.
It is. It's going to be rough, but this is a kind of composition that actually can play around enemy ults fairly effectively. It's a chaotic squad. It's a squad that tends to play very split up, but you never really want to play into ults. But Blur, he's closing in on the mines. We've seen how much value you can get with that to control the team fight, and he's going to go in very early here with a pile driver, do a lot of damage.
Yep, and Lime finds Yami maybe out of all that. The dive is very coordinated. P5 is in a lot of trouble, but Risen gets head tapped by Hammond. It's looking pretty rough. Kyo ends up going down, but they trade Kiriko's. Mines actually does go down because of the low HP. Rizzle does find Reckoning, rides right to Mines, but gets Blur out of all that. Oh man, they trade the tank line, and they may be able to tie this up or potentially take the lead just strictly off of that. They have a quicker team, so they're going to be able to get a little bit faster. Trizzle says it's a fat finger. I don't know. You were low.
Yeah, I don't believe trying to get that HP back. They will take the lead here, and that's actually super critical if they can get in here and get that defense going. They've got the duplicate on the side of LGBTQ times, but they're going to come in here to do a little damage. Kitsune Rush just started off, though, for the GOATs.
Yep, and it's matched out by Jinxie's ult, but Jinxie and Risen both go down very quickly here. I thought we would maybe see a copy into the Queen here, but we did not. Trizzle gets 2 more, and it was tough. Blur did find Yami maybe. Yami maybe is going through it on this map. Has been, I swear, been playing Spawn Simulator in this map so far.
Yeah, it's been pretty rough here. But looking at the ultimates now, they can feel pretty comfortable on the side of LGBTQ times. They've got a small lead, and that can make such a big difference on this map type, the momentum behind them. But also, if they just keep the state of the game the same here, Blur going to look to get the touch. No! He goes off. Yes, he comes in here. So they maintain the lead. If they win this team fight, then they will have the advantage in the meta game. But they're going to come with a blade, but no!
Blade and Rush the end, and Hammond finding multiple multiple double post bomb. The Dragons finds with a head tap to shut down the Genji ult. They use Kit, they use Genji. They're just coming off of using Coalescence, Beats, and just so many ults utilized in that fight. What a shot from Hammond, playing phenomenal here. The close spawn has been pulled out from Goats, not losing anyone in that fight. Lime's gonna switch over to the Torbjorn. I actually kind of like this switch too. Yeah. Again, same reason why I liked it the first match on Route 66 there.
Yeah, absolutely. Just helps to prevent Nine from playing whatever game he wants here. He's going to have to worry about the tower, deal with the tower, but they're going to start with the adaptive circuits here. Risen comes in.
Here's the copy on the Queen. Keep the Queen alive, and there's potential to win it, but they can't do it. Risen is super low here. Hammond, another head tap, and even critical, it's on Jinxie. Area has been denied, but there's no one in the vicinity to deny. Risen's going to go down here. They're going to boop into the head and just get a pick out of it. Torbjorn and Kiriko trying to do something here, which it's getting kind of close here. They can actually potentially flip some things here, but Lime's going to go down to Hammond. Hammond has woken up this game, showing off the Hanzo gameplay, but P5 does go get the pick off to Hammond. They're super low here, just relying on shields to make a difference in this match. But Yami may be finally getting a little bit of revenge from the spawn simulator, getting Blur out of all this. It's looking rough here. 40-meter lead and counting as Trizzle finds Jinxie on the end there.
Yeah, and momentum behind them as well. If they lose a fight here, it's okay. They need to lose 2 or 3 fights before they're in any danger of falling behind here. Blur's going to come in very aggressively here. The tempo these teams are keeping up is so high, but Limeros goes down to start off. Trizzle with the rampage through, catches so many.
Yes, big reckoning. 2 down, 3 down. It's not looking good after getting the pick on Tracer. True. This is not looking good after 1 reckoning causes all of that. And now the ult advantage plays a big factor into how the rest of this map is going to pull out, because Goats have 4.
Pretty much 5, right, with Pulse Bomb at the ready as well. So it's looking very good for them. They want to close it out quickly, but Blur, he's got something to say. He goes in very early, very far ahead of his team here, just to make space, put the pressure on, but there's a Dragon Strike in the back line. Oh,
and Jinxie can't get away. Faded in. Hammond goes down. They're separated a little bit by Molten Core and the Mine, so that's huge. P5 actually gets the head tap on Laan, which is humongous. And this is going to stop the bleeding here a little bit. Not using a terrible amount of ults and comparing it to the 2 and 2 is not terrible. Both sub ults on both teams are alive, but Trizzle and them want to keep fighting. Keo finds Lime. Blur's going to actually get off and swap to the Rhine. Both support ults are popped here on the side for Goats, trying to keep the fight. Kitsune Rush now matches as Blur is back, but not on ball. On Reinhardt is swinging away, trying to find something. Is full HP and just has his hammer going. 70% on his ult charge already after using mines. And Risen gets Trizzle out of that. Risen actually is going to move over to the Cassidy, finding 2. P5 finds 1. Big team kill. Desperate team fight needed there.
Such heads-up play from Blur, right? I don't even think he was killed. I think he went back and said, Ryan's the better choice here. Ryan is what I need to be on. And it pays off immediately. Look at that, 86% towards the Earth Shadow. So he's going to have that ready to go in the next team fight. No shields to speak of on the opposing team. The High Noon gets the double.
Trizzle pulled him into the team. Got 2 with that. Both supports go down. That's such a misplay from Trizzle. Even though they get him, it's over. Nian finds a second person though. It's just, but Nian gets, just taken on a trip. It's canceled out. That's 3 down. They're going to get the close spawn for this. I hope we get a replay on that at some point. If anybody saw what just happened, Trizzle used knife and pulled Risen into the team, which caused the High Noon to get 2.
Oh, where are we off to now, boys? They're going to look to get set up here on the high ground and just rain damage in from above. They still have that Earth Shadow ready to go. They're coming in towards Coalescence. They let the robot flip back and they're going to drop down and look for a fight. The Shadow comes out, but it's nothing.
Doesn't hit anything, connects nothing. And Reckoning actually doesn't connect anything either because of a well-timed Zuzu, but they find 3 anyway. They were trying to get set up for the fight. The Shatter was the one that was going to win it for him, and they just couldn't get it. I don't think they're going to be able to get a lot of close spawns here as 1 goes down right after. The close spawn will let them res everyone but Lime here, so everyone's going to be real close. But Lime is going to be playing from afar. They're going to try to get something going here. That was a big fight win, but they need at least 2 or 3 more to get this game cracked back open in their favor and bring us to a map 5.
Yeah, and they let the close spawn go as well. They're rather opting to get the full 5 up. Obviously makes a lot of sense here, but they're under pressure now. Ult's coming in the other way. Both DPSs and Coalescence Ultimate comes out, Deadeye doesn't find anything, but
no, but Hammond does. Dragons comes out, but they trade. Blur finds Trizzle out of all that, so this is huge. Pin is coming in, doesn't get anything out of the pin, but he is just walking through. Blur is just asserting a lot of dominance, and we just saw it shatter. We're 78 to another one.
That's Blur Gaming for you right there. He's playing super aggressive, and it can be really hard against a Junker Queen. She can just pump you down as soon as you drop your shield, but they've been doing a good job of dealing with Trizzle, forcing him to play a little bit safer and not output as much damage. And now they're coming. They've got Shatter on the side of LGBTQ times. They've got the Kitsune Rush, and they've got the forward spawn as well. This is their opportunity. If they win here, they could be in for a good comeback.
Yep. Both teams are probably going to use Kitsune Rush here. We see K and B.
Shatter.
And then a Shatter comes through, and they are putting a molten core. They can't do anything as the fire rains from the Torbjorn. A big ult, but very expensive fight. They used 3, but they needed it that way. Both support ults on Goats was utilized. Yami maybe goes down right at the end. That's a big stagger.
Yeah.
They don't have a lot of ults. It's just Trizzle, but Risen has his. Jinxie will most likely get it very quickly, even though they're at 64%, but that's just how Moira operates. We're looking at a 30-meter deficit here, which is super winnable if they can pull it off. This OT push is going to be absolutely insane to keep their map ups alive. And we're getting started very quickly here. Looking for something. High Noon trying to find one. Does not find anything. Blur's super low here, though. Blur's going to go down.
Oh, God.
The Reckoning goes off. That finds 3. That's going to be it. There's nothing they can do. Jinxie finds 1. P5 goes down. Hammond finds Lime. Trizzle finds Jinxie, and that'll do it. 12 meters was the deficit, and it was so close. Blur just got a little too overzealous there.
Very unfortunate there, and that's kind of push for you, right? They had to do a lot to come back in that early advantage that Goats managed to secure kind of sealed them the deal in the end. And credit where it's due, the LGBTQ times putting up a huge fight there. This man in particular going forward, he gets the double with the Shatter here, does the damage through the sound barrier there with the molten core on the back as well. So really impressive stuff. I'm disappointed that it's over, Davian. I feel like we're
such a good game.
Here, you know?
It was such a good game. The only thing I wish they could have done, I think what would have won them that map, actually bring us to a map 5, if they would have saved Torb ult. Torb ult I don't think needed to be used right then and there. I think if Torb ult was used next fight, you're going to have Queen trying to come in. You can use that ult to cover the point. You can have Risen take a little bit of time off their bank because they would have been able to use the High Noon. That's the only thing they had to utilize. So it would have been really close there. If they could have saved Torble, I think they actually might have been able to pull that out because it was only 12 meters. It was 12 meters left. They would have had to force them off point, force them into the fire of Torble, and they could have pulled that out. But it is what it is, and they played phenomenal. I think both teams just came out and showed out. They were trying to, I'm seeing it back. Trizzle was trying to, they were trying to get the kill on Trizzle. Blur was
I was also just watching that now.
That makes a lot more sense on why they were so far out. But man, I'm disappointed we had to end on that 3-1 note. I really wanted that to go to map 5, and we almost did.
Yeah, it felt like LGBTQ time were kind of just finally finding their rhythm, you know? And yes, they really struggled at the beginning of that. But what stood out to me was just the intelligence coming out of LGBTQ times, right? We saw it on Route 66. They go for that forward defense. It's not like they were defending first point, right? They had first point plus a decent chunk of second point, but they go for that aggressive defense and it works out perfectly for them. Here again, Blur specifically off the Hammond. In the middle of a team fight, he reads it, he says no. Hammond's the wrong choice here. The right choice is Ryan, and immediately it pays off. So I mean, it's so impressive to see that out of these teams. And if it's going to be anybody, it's going to be Blur. But at the end of it all, I think Trizzle, a huge difference maker. We mentioned him right at the start of the series that he was a player to watch out for. And at the end of it all, him on the Diva and the Junker Queen, just unstoppable. It felt like a lot of the time.
Yeah, I mean, it was just insane, and the gameplay from both teams was phenomenal. But if you had to pick one individual, is that what we're going with for player of the match, or?
It's hard, right? So I usually always like to go with a winning team, a player from the winning team, right? And I think in that case, it's definitely going to be Trizzle for me. But I think there's a lot to be said about some of the other players. I think Blur, as an individual, had more impact on his own team's performance than Trizzle did on his, but Trizzle's team won. And also there were a lot of other players. Laan was popping off in a big way. Both of the Mercies were playing really well as well. We saw a lot of critical reses, and of course, who was it? Hammond, as in Hammond, the guy who's playing Hanzo, not the hero.
Yeah.
He was exceptional on the Hanzo a lot of the time. But I think it felt like in so many team fights, if you didn't kill Trizzle, if you didn't deal with Trizzle, there was a very high chance that Goats was still going to win that team fight. So for me, Trizzle feels like the central point that this team is oscillating around, and it's working out. So for me, yeah, he's my player of the match.
I actually was gonna go a different route with this one. Usually, I'm a big, tank. Tanks don't get enough love. That's always my mindset. But I feel like this match, the supports didn't get enough love, and honestly, both supports for LGBT were playing phenomenal, but Goats just showed up. There were timely kits that Yami maybe had a phenomenal beat at the end there. And I do want to show some love over to you guys. But at the end of the day, my player of the match was definitely Hammond. There were two maps there where Hammond just became otherworldly, just made every play possible. That last map on Esperanza, you just saw pick after pick, head tap after head tap. And then on the other side, the first map, Midtown, we saw Hammond was the reason they broke open that defense so well. They were head tap, and then the offense came out, and it was time to go, and just popped off. So that's my player of the match for me over there is Hammond. But man, not a single player played bad today. This was one of the best matches I've watched in a long time.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. As I say, I think you could make a case for probably all 10 players, a pretty comfortable case. I'm seeing Blur in the chat here saying Trizzle bodied me, GG's, and so from his perspective, Trizzle was a big problem for him, and of course the tanks are going to be looking at each other more than anyone else. But I think it kind of it's scary if you're any other team in the Pride Cup here looking at this match and looking at Goats. I think we're probably looking at them being the favorite going forwards. Of course, now they've topped this group, I believe. So, or pretty close to it if they haven't secured it yet. And they're looking unstoppable. They have finally lost a map, but LGBTQ times really had to dig deep, both on a player mechanical level, but also from a tactical standpoint as well. So, scary stuff if you're looking at this from the outside.
Yeah, I mean, hey, listen, I could see this being our finals, right? This is such a good, it was a great matchup. We're just in pool play still. So we're getting over to the brackets next weekend, and it's just going to be phenomenal. But I believe we have a game that's supposed to be starting here in about 30-ish minutes, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe a little bit soon or a little later than that. I could be completely wrong. But so I think we should take the time and wrap this up. We almost went to a map 5, so that would have been really funny on the delays there. But I'm glad we got them in there and out of there. Hopefully, all these guys are really okay and able to do what they got to do. Hopefully, no load shedding issues, which I've learned is a thing in South Africa. So I haven't had to deal with that before. So I hope everything goes okay with you guys. But this was a banger of a match, and I hope we get just as much bangers from the rest of these matches that we have today. And again, I could definitely see this being our finals.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at all. There's a couple of strong teams on the other side of the bracket as well, or in the other group as well, and that'll always be exciting to see. But if I'd be shocked if we don't at least have Goats in that final match. And LGBTQ times have shown themselves to be good, but they've also shown themselves to be able to drop quite a few maps. They've had to dig deep to get this far, and one decision goes the other way, one play goes the other way, and they might be looking at a loss in one of these maps, and then anything can happen. But Goats for me stand out so far of what we've seen. But yeah, I'm excited to see what the other teams bring to the table as well.
Yeah, listen, I will say this now. When it gets to bracket play, hey, it doesn't matter what maps you drop, as long as you have more map wins than the other team. It's all that matters at the end of the day. So, but that's a wrap from us. Any other closing remarks you got from me, son?
No, nothing from my side. As you said, we do have a match that's meant to be starting at 4 o'clock South African time, so that is in 22 minutes. So stick around from that. Who's on for that? I think it's you, Davian, and Dreamer.
I am not here. I'm out of here. I am leaving. You will not be seeing me.
It's Dreamer and Diablo. Okay, that's exciting. Have you seen Auntie cast before? I think it's his first time. It's his first time. Ooh. So, Davian, you don't know Auntie.
Go show love for that.
if you think Laan was scary on the Tracer, bro, ain't nobody got nothing on Diablo's Tracer. So seeing him in the
All
casting
right.
visions is gonna be super interesting to see.
Yeah, it's gonna be some good casting then if you got one of the Tracer legends here to cast with you guys. So it should be a blast. And I believe who else was it? Dreamer. Dreamer was on earlier. So you guys should have a blast with those two. And but thank you guys for having me today. I will hopefully be back for bracket play. I had a blast doing these 3 games I've been able to be on cast for. And I mean, it's been a great time doing the casting for this Pride Cup. It's been blast.
Awesome.
But thank you guys for hanging out. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day and enjoy that game here in about 22, 23-ish minutes. Please stay tuned for that. And we are out of here. Thank you guys for watching. Enjoy the next match.